Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawkes here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everyone, Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. Some lovely weekend weather on its way, so look forward to that. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you're made available and put new content on. As always, I'd like to thank our lovely channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. We never have another ex-Hammer. Over 80 we've had on the channel, which is mental, but I'm looking forward to today. Over 150 first team appearances for the club across, well, 6 seasons, 2/technically 3 spells at the club, kinda. It's Mr. George McCartney. How are we, George?
I'm good, Ross. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolute pleasure, man. Really buzzing to have you, man. Really buzzing to have you. How's it been? How's it been in the McCartney household? How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's a long time out of football, but no. Myself and my family just really the last few years of we're a quiet family. We live in the countryside, so
yeah,
just doing our own thing really. And first few years when I retired, didn't really take much to do with football, but looking to get back into it again.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And as you said, obviously in the last 15 months, the family been okay. You've all been well. No one's caught the dreaded lurgy.
Well, I don't think so, but then without being tested, you never really know if you've had it or not. But yeah, it's been a crazy few months, and this lockdown, it's been tough on everyone. And at the minute, there doesn't seem to be a way out of it. No, I see in the paper this morning, talk it might be another lockdown in a few weeks, but fingers crossed that the vaccinations are working, and hopefully in a few months we can get back to living normally again.
Hopefully. I think it's one of those things where I think we're going to have to live with it for the rest of our, in the same way with flu, you get a jab every month, every year, and I think it's going to be the same thing. And obviously Monday is Freedom Day, or as much as you can call it, the Freedom Day. And we'll see what happens. But, the good thing is, I know, we've obviously had the Euros has distracted us for a few weeks, which was good, which is all right. Well, kind of, apart from the last result, which was
the result in the final. It was, I think everyone was probably obviously to do with Gareth Southgate. He done an amazing job, and a lot of the games people may be questioning his team or his strategy, but he got it right all the time, and it was just a shame in the final again down to penalties. It seems to be any time it goes to penalties in major competitions, England falls short. But hopefully, they've got a very young team now. Hopefully, over the next few years, they can finally lift one of the big trophies.
Hopefully. I've got proper into England now. I was never really an England fan, to be honest. Maybe because there was not really much West Ham representation in England. You know what I mean? It's like we might get one person, Scotty Parker might have got, or Trevor Sinclair, occasionally you get a player come in, or Andy Carroll might get a couple of games, or Antonio. Obviously with Deck now, it's sort of like he's one of the first names in the team sheet. So I proper got into it. And I think actually the bunch of lads, they're all young lads, as you said. And they're spread out across the Premier League and in Germany. It's not all, the greedy boys. It's not the greedy six. It's not all Man United and Liverpool. It's, you got West Ham, you got Everton, you got Ben White at Brighton and stuff like that. And I think I fell in love with it a bit again now.
Yeah, that's probably maybe helps the squad as well. Years gone by, like you say, there was maybe 5 or 6 Man United players.
Yeah.
A few Liverpool, maybe Chelsea. And you don't know from the outside, maybe there was what they call the cliques going on in terms
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yes, you were there as a team, a squad, but in terms of the team spirit, and that was everyone together, because you look at the past England teams, like there was some great quality there, maybe underachieved. And again, going back to the Euros, there's a young squad there, and you would like to think they can only get better and progress into the World Cup here in 2022.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully be nice. I mean, the same as the Italians. The Italians are the same. They diversify. I think they had about 12 different clubs in their squad as well. Where it was always Juventus and Milan's, but they spread out, and it I think it makes a big difference. And it's one of those things. It's just I think I've got into England more than I did ever before. I think. And adversely bring it back to West Ham. It's the same thing. A lot of people, will sort of like not disillusioned with West Ham over the last few years, but it was, a bit of a chore, obviously, with everything with COVID and stuff like that. And last season being such a great season for us, it's reinvigorated the fan base. That's for sure.
I think, like you're saying, it's probably only recently you've started following England more. I think back to being from Northern Ireland, obviously.
Sure.
They come first, but think back to the 1990 World Cup.
Yes.
When Gascoigne crying and losing in the semi-final. I was only a kid then, but for some reason back then I sort of started following England then. And then you had Euro 96 again. Penalties, Germany. And I don't know why. It's just from 1990 I've always been an England follower. And always like to see them do well.
Yeah.
And, just back to the final there. For some reason, probably the last few years, Italy have they've been into the competitions as underdogs for some reason, even though they're a great nation, a great football team. And you just had to look. I think they're now 33 matches unbeaten.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's some achievement for an international team. And
you're right.
As much as they went into the final, England were probably favourites to win. You could tell that they were, were a very good team, and probably at the end of extra time, the match was quite even, and no penalties or lotteries. So
it is, yeah.
It was unfortunate that England lost, but hopefully their time will come again.
Yeah, I think it will. It's all good. It's all good, experience for them when it comes to different tournaments now, isn't it? So they know they've lost and I think for me it was. I probably I remember night. I mean, you're almost. I think you're about a couple of months older than me, George. But just saying. But you look a lot younger. I'll tell you, you look a lot younger. But yeah, 1990, 96, definitely. And then it's sort of like in and out. It's like I think I became a little bit. It's like I think there's too many international matches, and I always worry, and when it comes to our boys playing in international matches, that they don't get injured and come back and sort of do what happened to Dean Ashton. And I've always had that sort of reservation. Do you know what I mean? It's always been West Ham first, then England. But the last couple of weeks has been
especially now. Obviously Declan Rice, he's so important to West Ham.
Yeah.
He's become a massive player for them. He had a great tournament, and like you say, I think he's injury free, so that's a bonus as well. A couple of weeks off, and then he'll be back at West Ham pre-season and looking to kick on again in the coming season or coming year.
Well, we've got a European tour. We've got a European tour coming up, George.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. We're in Europe, aren't we? We're in the Europa League next year. European tour, boys on tour, and yeah, looking forward to it this year. Coming, it's going to be fun.
Do you think maybe slightly disappointed they didn't hold on to the Champions League place?
No, I'm not. I'm not, and I'll tell you for why. For me, it's like, well, firstly, we don't have to qualify. We're in the Europa League already. We haven't got to qualify. You remember we got certain places before, and we have to qualify to get into Europa Leagues, and we'll lose to like Astra Gugu or someone like that. We don't have to do that. We go straight in. If we finish, I think we finish in the Champions League. It's amazing, but I think baby steps. I'll take baby steps. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
it was a great season they had, and I thought probably until the last few weeks, third and fourth place was definitely up for grabs.
It was, yeah.
Liverpool came strong late on the season, and when they looked as if they wouldn't even be top 5 at one stage, but
crazy, wasn't
it was still a great season for West Ham, and Europa League is it's still a big competition, and not having to qualify, it certainly saves for the players. Pre-season would have been starting early, matches starting early.
Good point, yeah.
So, being straight into the knockout stages is a big plus.
It is a big plus. I see both sides, because obviously Wolves did it season before last, didn't they? Where they had to qualify. They ended up playing something ridiculous, like 56, like 60 games or something like that across the season. But they'd already, because they'd played a few sort of competitive games before the season starts, they were already up and running. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So they had some good results early doors. But in the end, they sort of fell off towards the end of that season. Yeah. So look, it's great.
It definitely takes its toll. Playing 55, 60 matches a year.
Yeah.
It's tough on the players, and I think that year you could tell towards the end Wolves were out on their feet over.
They were indeed, and but yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We're all happy Hammers over here, George, which is the main thing at the moment. Right, let's talk about you. Let's talk about you and West Ham, George, because that's why people don't want to listen to my opinion on the England squad. They want to listen to you. They can listen to me all the time. But anyway, so obviously, as George made 150 first team appearances. It was in total about 6 seasons across a couple of, I love a boomerang player, George. I love a player who goes and comes back. I love a play like that.
Yeah, so to say when you leave, you never go back again. But I actually done it to 2 clubs, and it worked out in one and didn't work out so well on the other. So
yeah,
sort of way balances itself out, I suppose.
It does. But I can't think of many situations when it comes to West Ham where there's the boomerang hasn't worked. Do you know what I mean? Maybe not as, people like Tony Cottee and stuff like that. Not, Frank McAvenny, these guys came back. Xhaka, he went and came back and ended up being in the FA Cup final. So Julian did it as well. So, you're in higher stead. Ginger Pele did the same as well. So a lot of people do that, which is great. But the first time, obviously, you signed in 2006. Why West Ham, George? Because you were at Sunderland for many years, from youth upwards. Why move?
Yeah, I think it came around more at the time. There was a player at West Ham. He was a left back, Clark, I think it was.
Clive Clark. Yeah, we've had Clive on. Yeah, lovely guy.
Hey, Clark. Yeah, he was a good lad. I actually rented his house for a while on my first spell at West Ham, and so I think some of them were interested in Clive going, obviously, to Sunderland, and at the time, Alan Pardew was manager, and that I was obviously getting the better end of the deal because West Ham were Premiership, Sunderland had just been relegated.
Yeah,
and to be honest, living in the northeast, moving to London now, it's different. So there's a new way of life, and but it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up in terms of the club, and like I say, West Ham are in the Premiership, so it was a chance for me to go and try and become a better player.
Sure.
At a bigger club.
Yeah.
And thankfully, it worked out for me. Now, it wasn't easy at the start because I think when I went there, it was a tough year the first season, but it worked out, and I'm obviously glad that I made that decision back in 2006.
Yeah, exactly. And you said, it wasn't easy. Obviously, you joined, and initially, obviously, Conch was still around, wasn't he? So he was first choice, really. So there was a lot of sub appearances, but then he pissed off to Fulham, and then obviously Curbs coming in, and that was it. You were crucial. Your first team. You were the first name on the team sheet, so to speak. And
yeah. No, Conch is obviously a very good player, and he's a great lad as well.
He is.
And yeah, it's always when you move to these sort of clubs, West Ham, there's going to be competition for places.
Of course.
And at the start, a few sub appearances, And I think, Pardew being manager, but then Kirbysley came in around January, February, and changed things up a little bit. I started getting a few more opportunities, and as the season progressed, we were in a relegation battle, and thankfully, and I still think to this day, we still didn't get the credit we probably deserved.
No, you didn't.
Beating the teams that we beat to stay up. I think we won 7 of the last 9 or 8 of the last 9 games.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and the teams we were beating, like it was. I think at the time we went away to Arsenal.
Yeah, you beat Arsenal 1-0 away. Yeah,
and nobody. I don't think they had been beaten at the Emirates before that. Now I might be wrong. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. I think we were the first team, I think, to beat Arsenal at the Emirates. I'm pretty sure we were.
We beat them 1-0, and I think on another day it could have been about only for Rob Green, and obviously the lads put in a great performance, but on another day it could have maybe been about 10 to Arsenal, but Rob Green made some crucial saves.
He did.
And you need a bit of luck in the rubber green, so obviously Rob Green in goal, but thankfully, we beat them in Old Trafford at the end of the year. Everton,
exactly.
Yeah, there was some big wins in there.
It was, and the Great Escape. It would always be known as the Great Escape, and it was, one of those, as you said, that Man United game. God, we didn't we keep it to the last second, won't we? We won't, we don't make it easy on ourselves, but
and I think even though we won that game, when you actually look at the final league table in terms of positions, I think we actually were about 3 or 4 positions out of the top, the teams that were relegated. So if someone looked at that after the last game, they'd be thinking, "Oh, West Ham are well safe," and them teams at the bottom were battling it out. Whereas if we hadn't won that game, I think we might have went down in goal difference or something. That was
something like that. Yeah,
it was that close. But great memories, and it was an unbelievable end to the season.
Oh, it was. That whole season was a weird season, wasn't it? It was a very strange season. What, obviously, we've had there's a guy called Daniel Watson. He's written a whole book about that whole season because it was such a bizarre season. Not obviously the Great Escape, but the whole Tevez and Mascherano and all that type of thing that went. Lots of weird things happened that season.
Yeah, you think back now in terms of where they ended up playing, and at that stage of their careers, I'm not even sure how old they would have been, but it was funny how they ended up at West Ham, and two great players, but Tevez was obviously very crucial, and with his goals, to help us stay up that year as well. But I think, and another game that sticks in my head that year was, I think it was around January, the Spurs game at home.
Yes,
2-0 up, and was it 3-2 up, and then they scored in injury time. It was like heartbreaking. I even remember thinking back, I think Mark Noble at the end of the match, he was crying at the end of the match. Now, I think then he was, this is us done for, even though it was January or February, but that's how crucial the games were, even only halfway through the year.
Well, they were. Yeah, you're right. And it was, and in a weird way, although that was, because we've interviewed lots of people in that squad as yourself. So we interviewed in that season. So we interviewed, Anton and various others, and they say that game, although they lost and it was everyone's head was down, for Carlos, because that was Carlos's first goal. It was the game which basically kicked him up the bum, and then he started. Then from then on, he was unbelievable for the rest of those sort of 4 or 5 months afterwards. And so it's weird how these things that looking back at it, so these sliding doors moments, and that really was for that season.
If you hadn't even seen, and he maybe trains like this all the time, and he's just one of them players that can turn it on the match.
Yeah,
being such a good player he is, but with Carlos in training, like he just would have come into training if you were playing, say, a small-sided game. He would just stand at centre half and just get the ball, just pass it, wouldn't move much. No, it was just all relaxed about him. Whereas with Mascherano, he was in training, he was actually superb. Like he was involved with everything, and you could tell his quality. But for some reason, he didn't get as much game time as maybe what he expected. But with Carlos, yeah, he was obviously one of the main players and reasons why we stayed up that year.
Yeah, no, he was, and I think we actually, I think with Carlos as well, and I think it added to a very, when you joined the squad there was a real mix in that squad. I think when you joined originally, you had your Robert Greens, you had people like Teddy Sheringham still in the you had sort of some youngsters, some old players, and it was a real sort of eclectic, but quite a British squad, really, until maybe, because obviously when you first joined, because you had Anton and Gabs, and you had Hayden and it's Jonathan Spector and a few, but it was like quite a British squad, because obviously that squad had come up with Pardew. We got to the FA Cup the previous year, but then it started changing. And obviously, then you had your Carlos and Mascherano, and then obviously Pard's leaving and Curbs coming in changed the mentality. Lucas Neal came in, and there was a.
I was going to say, Lucas Neal, because I think probably with the Tevez and Mascherano situation, the Lucas Neal one was probably not forgot about, because I think the time Liverpool were looking to.
They were,
saying Lucas Neal, and everyone was saying, well, why would you turn down Liverpool, who were probably fighting for Champions League or the league or whatever, and want to be in a relegation battle, but. Lucas came in. I think he made captain maybe straight away.
Pretty much, yeah.
To be fair, he was certainly a leader around the changing room, and again another reason why, come the end of the season, we ended up staying up.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think and as I said, that was, the whole thing was being reiterated by when we've interviewed people like Anton, he thought Lucas Neal was one of the best captains he played under, just because he was real sort of a club captain rather than necessarily just a team captain. It's the whole club he was bothered about.
Lucas, every day around the training ground, he would be probably going around each player individually, just. More or less saying to him what the demands are and what we need to be doing as players to get out of the situation we were in. And Anton would have been spot on. He certainly was not just a leader on the pitch, it was off it as well. He was a big influence.
Yeah, he was, and yourself. Obviously, he was at West Ham for a couple of years, and then obviously, then the following, obviously, we stayed up in the 06-07 season. The following season was a good season for you. You finished Hammer of the Year runner-up. That must be we've interviewed a few people who have won and come second, but still to come second and voted for by the fans, it must be an incredible thing to be recognised.
I'm just maybe being a wee bit selfish here, but I know Rob Green got it, but I say he's the goalkeeper, so I got it for being the outfield player. But
exactly,
it was my time there. Greeny was superb, so he was a top class goalkeeper, so he was, and thoroughly deserved the awards that he got.
But it's for you as well. I always think it's that there's an extra. There's an extra, like an asterisk put by your names for the defenders, because obviously the attackers always get all the goals and the glory, but for a defender to be recognised by the fans means that you're doing something right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it was. I think being injury free. Yeah, it was probably all throughout my career. If I stayed injury free, and I felt good within myself and fit. I tended to play well. And when I never had sort of like muscle injuries in terms of 3-4 weeks. When I was injured, it was months. It was like serious injuries. But yeah, that year, I think I played every game, and yeah, felt good, felt strong, and I think a big thing as well for any player is if the team's playing well, individuals tend to be doing their jobs properly, not just me, and it's everyone. And that year I think we maybe finished 10th. I think it might have been
something like that. Yeah, I think you finished. So I'm just looking.
But it was
10th.
It was a good season. It was. I think Curbs made a few signings that year as well. So we definitely had a very strong squad, and I think it's probably the supporters as well. We all felt it should be a strong season because of the players that we had.
Yeah, it was a good squad. You had a good squad. It was a nice blend of players.
Yeah.
And obviously you had such a good season that season that Sunderland bought you for $4.5 million.
Yeah. No, I talked about this last week in an interview. It was a strange one how things happened, but at the end of the day, I made the decision. There was no one else to blame, and
sure,
even though I wasn't committed to that decision, that it was me. I was doing it more for family reasons than football reasons. But again, you can look back at it and say it was a big mistake. But hindsight's a great word, so it is.
It is. Hindsight's great, isn't it? Yeah.
We can all look back and change things we've done in the past, but it's something that I regret. But I also would say, and I don't think I probably said it last week, and it's nothing against Sunderland or anything. I had great times at Sunderland first time around. They're a great club. But just in terms of my football career and my journey, being at West Ham is where I just felt I enjoyed it the most and loved the club and everything to do with the club and the people and the players. It was just a great time in my life then. But it was just a strange transfer, how things happened, and it's regrettable that I went back, but I did.
Well, you went back for the right reasons. Sometimes I think people there's two types of transfers. I think there's three. I reckon one is purely for a footballing career perspective. So and that's what happened the first time. The fact is you went from Sunderland to West Ham. You thought, okay, I'm going to a Premier League club, and it's going to improve my football, and I'm going to play at a higher standard than I would do if I stayed at Sunderland. There's one which is family based, which was the move back. At the end of the day, you had to drag all your family, it up your life. And we've interviewed people who have come up from from France or we had Nobby on here, so bloody Peru and stuff, but it doesn't matter. You've had to up sticks and go to a different area. And so that was why it was going back. The third one is for purely for a monetary reason. It wasn't for that. It was to go back to be your family. And to be honest, sometimes they work out. Sometimes we had a guy here. We interviewed a guy called Sebastian Carroll who basically came on a 3-month loan from Monaco, played one game because Pards basically promised him the world and didn't deliver. And he just said, to be honest, Russ, it probably buggered up my career. In family friendly. He said a slightly different type of word, but we're not 9 o'clock. It's not past 9 o'clock, not past Watershed, so I'm not going to say it. So he basically said he effed up his career, really, because he could have stayed at Monaco. They won the league and and that was purely because he wanted to have a try. At the end of the day, hindsight's a great thing, but as you said, but then in a weird way, you obviously went to Sunderland. It didn't work out as you had. Then you had a couple of loan spells at Leeds. And then more importantly, because we'll gloss over that bit because it doesn't matter. More importantly, you came home. You came home, George. You came back.
Yeah, just
So
just finishing off on the first spell. I actually, a couple of weeks before I went back to Sunderland, no, I think I signed it was a 4 or 5 year contract.
You did, yeah.
And so I was even in the process of looking for a house, and at the time the thing was renting, I was looking to buy a house, but yeah, so anyway, I ended up going back to Sunderland. Things didn't work out, and what was it, 2011, I think. Steve Bruce called me into the office at Sunderland, and he said there could be an opportunity of going back to West Ham. I think Steve and Sam Allardyce were another good friends,
good mates, yeah. And
probably at the start I was, he winding me up here a little bit, but it's so that's how it happened. I think I got a train or plane down within a couple of days and met with Sam and done a medical, and rejoined. And I think again at that time in my career, because in football you can work so hard to achieve and get to a level where you're happy with, and and it probably took me, I joined Sunderland 16, moved to West Ham, I think 25, 26, so 9-10 years, and I worked so hard in terms of being a player. I never went out at weekends, and probably sounds a little bit sad to some people, but I was dedicated to football at that time. And so went to West Ham, things worked out, went well, and when I returned to Sunderland, a sort of way, probably when you take your foot off, to pedal a little bit in football reasons, it takes you so long to achieve to where you want to be, and then within weeks and months in football, you can be rock bottom again, and that's how quickly it can change. If you don't dedicate your life enough to training every day, playing matches, and consistently playing well, things can change, and that's what happened when I returned to Sunderland and even Leeds. But so I returned to West Ham, and a sort of way, I was always a sort of person who wanted to prove people wrong. If you doubt me, I go out and I'll get better at whatever I need to do to show that I'm capable of playing at this level. Or if I'm through a bad spell, now I'm going to try my hardest to return to something like I would have been the previous years. And when I went back to West Ham, that's how I felt. That I was grateful for the opportunity that Sam and obviously the chairmen had given me, and I wasn't going to let it slip by, really.
Well, I suppose it's almost like it's not to make amends, but it's almost like it's like a fresh start, isn't it? Yeah, you had that sort of not barren period, but you weren't, as you said, it wasn't clicking at Sunderland and at Leeds, getting sent out on loan and stuff like that to Leeds and stuff. And it's almost like, right, you can come back and you've got the, not security, but that you played your best football when you were at West Ham last time. So,
I think though in football, you only get so many chances. That was probably, well, we don't know if it would have been or not, but in my head, it probably would have been, right, this is your last chance if you want to play at a great club and at a high level. If you mess this up, then you can start looking probably down the lower leagues or whatever. No disrespect, but
No, I know what you mean.
That's just how at that time in my life, that's how my football was going, because of, I wouldn't say my attitude. It was just I wasn't in a good place in my head in terms
Yep.
of where I was or what club I was at, and West Ham coming around second time was, it was a big opportunity for me to go back and enjoy football, enjoy my life, and try and get back somewhere near the best that it could be.
Yeah. No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, mate. And you're right. There's, it's about taking opportunity, and Big Sam came and he'd obviously been relegated to the season before, and he wanted a team. He put together a team with the sole purpose to get out of that league again, get us back in the Premier League, and we did. And obviously, we went up for the playoffs, and that was just talk about a lottery. That really, really was, and for me, even more so, because it was my. I always mention it, but the playoff final was my daughter's due date, and so it was stressful. It was stressful for two reasons, obviously getting back into the Premier League, but obviously my daughter could have been born any time then. So that was always fun.
Were you at the match, or were you?
George, I had a really good ticket. So. So of course we had Colton on a few weeks ago, and I told him the story, and he was like, "You are mad. Honestly, you are mad." So yeah, I had my seat. So basically, obviously, I got my seat was like front row.
Yeah.
Front row in the end that Vastay scored in, front row, bang in the centre. So it was really good to see. Luckily, Flo didn't come along for a couple of days after that, which was fortunate. I had the phone on, but I had a beer in the other hand. So it's only one I had beer in the other hand. And about 3 o'clock, I got a phone call, and I was like, "Oh God!" But it was like a PPI call. I couldn't believe you couldn't time it. But yeah, and then 3 days later, I think 2 or 3 days later, 2 days later, she came. Yeah, 2 days later, she came along, and then a day later than that, when we got out of hospital, I've got a picture of her in the playoff trophy,
brilliant. So it was a double, triple celebration.
It was. It really was. And what as a player, what's it like being like the playoff final? It's knowing that winning this game will put you in the Premier League, and everything about the fan base and stuff. It must be a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Everyone wants to go up in the automatic promotion places, but it sounds stupid if you were guaranteed to go up playing at Wembley, even though you're not guaranteed, but if someone says you'll have to go through the playoffs, but you're definitely going to win it. I think for a day out for the fans, just the experience for the players, such a big game at Wembley, it's nearly, maybe probably aside from winning the league, it's nearly no sort of way better going up through the play. Pressure aside, because of the day out, the atmosphere, the experience. But yeah, we played Blackpool twice that year.
You did, yeah.
Both times we absolutely thumped them, and even at Blackpool we had 10 men. Henry Lansbury went in goal.
I know, yeah.
And we still beat them 4-1 at their place. And come the final, I think the first half, we were probably quite fortunate to be getting 1-0 up at half time, because Blackpool had a few chances. No, Blackpool played very well that day, but when the football and gods are on your side, you get a bit of luck, and if you have some quality in the team, and we had Nolan up front, Coley, Fastay. We had players who could change games, and I think it was about the 85th minute or so. Fastay pops up with a winner.
Something like that.
I think I was actually the first one to celebrate with him as well. So, a few players maybe ran to Coley or Nolan, but I just remember probably had to sprint the full length of the pitch, and yeah, it was crazy celebrations. But yeah, what a day! It was amazing too.
Oh, it was. It was, and then it was Mark Stagdo, weren't it? Mark was off to Vegas, I think. Mark Noble shortly after that, so yeah, a bit of a crazy time for him.
And for Nobes as well. It's being a West Ham lad. He's had ups and downs throughout his career being there, but you could always tell the emotions when things weren't going well. He would have showed it while I was on the pitch or off it, and I see him with the highs. It's just West Ham in his blood. No, it's his only club that he'll say that, and he'll probably still be there for another 20 or 30 years, whether it's in a coaching role or
I'd imagine
managerial role or something. No, I can see him being there a long time still, but yeah, no, just top man as well. So he is.
Yeah. And what was obviously, you technically you've done obviously under Pardew, under Curbs, and obviously then Big Sam came along, three sort of very different managers in terms of all three British managers, but three very different managers. And obviously, Big Sam did have his critics, from the fan base, particularly West Ham. But I thought, he came to do a job, and he bloody well did the job, and he got us up and made us a very difficult team to beat.
I think I didn't have long enough under Pardew because it was maybe only a couple of months. So I as a manager, I can't really comment too much on it. In terms of his training and how he set out his teams after matches, he was very good that way. But I really enjoyed my time under Curbs and the coaches he had around him as well, with Merv and Lynn Snodden. That there was had some really good times under them and appreciated the help they gave to me. And then obviously with Sam again, the clubs he's been at, Sam's a great manager. He's very, and people probably from the outside, he's big into the sports science side of things and the tactical side of the game, and he's a very good manager. Maybe gets for some reason, this long ball or whatever. And we not once in training we have been set out right, we're going to play long ball today. Because you go out the pass the ball without taking chances in the wrong areas. And sometimes Big Sam gets, like I say, the wrong style that he plays.
Yeah, gets labelled.
Yeah, and because it's not like that there, but he done a very good job at West Ham, and
he did
getting them promoted, and then he got a team to safely stay in the Premiership for the next few years. And it's maybe not the style that the fans want, but football's yes, you want good football, but it's also results that matters.
Yeah.
We can't get away from you wanna win games, get results to stay in the Premiership. You don't want to play pretty football and get relegated. There's a fine balance. Yes, you want to play good football, but also there's a time and a place to do it. And I think especially the first season back, just having been promoted, you want to just build your way back in, secure your safety the following season. And all the years Sam was there, he certainly did that there.
Yeah, no, he did. You're totally right. You're totally right. I think he's, and that's why I think, obviously the West Ham team now, Sam had a plan, to use alliteration, but he had a plan. He knew what he was going to do to get us up and make us tough to beat down. And then I think since then, we haven't had as a team at West Ham a plan. really. It's sort of a bit like, but with David Moyes, it seems to be that sort of back to similar, put together a team that's hard to beat and will hit you on the counter attack and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I wasn't a booer. I always thought Big Sam, he was a bastard, but he was our bastard. Do you know what I mean? And I like managers who are the pantomime villain, the opposition, but I remember Burnley away. And obviously because they don't like him because of the Blackburn connection and the Bolton connection, particularly Blackburn. And obviously Burnley, you have to walk across the pitch, don't you, to get to the dugout? It's like, and everyone had left. Oh, they're big, close ground as well, Turf Moor. And the whole team had gone. They'd walked across and then Big Sam, about 15 yards behind everyone else, walks out on his own through the pit, knowing he's going to get booed. Loved it. No, I liked Big Sam. I did like him. And obviously, then unfortunately, then you had a serious knee injury, and so you played a few, played obviously for another couple of seasons. Technically, it didn't help, did it? The big knee injury, and he just didn't really get back to where you were.
No, so that came about in training, French lad, Diarra.
Yeah,
and I think it was near the start of, what would it be, my third season on the second spell. Season started well, personally, feeling good. Then got tackled in training, and I knew straight away it wasn't something minor. So I went and seen the surgeon, and but decided no operation, it should heal in 10 to 12 weeks. And probably lasted more about 14 weeks or so. And in terms of the rehab, the training, practice matches to get back, and then a first game back, I remember, I think it was West Brom, I went the sort of way like twisting the leg to run back, and I just felt my knee. Yeah, I knew straight away, this is serious. And so went to see the same surgeon again and decided to have the operation. And I think when they opened up, there was some tendons ruptured, or I think it was, or ligaments, ruptured. And so that was another 6 months or so rehab, trying to get back. And it was a long time, and especially 31, 32. And even though when I came back, probably played 20 matches or so that season, or maybe a little bit more, but without any real consistency. And also I knew in my head that I wasn't the same player, because of the pains in my knees, and I wasn't able to train the same. And I knew in my head that this, because my contract was also up as well, probably this is my last season. And without really knowing my last season ever playing, I'll go away for a few weeks, maybe have a holiday, and then see what happens after that.
See what happens,
it was just a sort of way went off in the wilderness from there. And kept my head down, and forgot about football for a few years.
Yeah. It must be, particularly as you said, for so many years, football's been your life, and then to have it taken away, but prematurely, really, as you said, 32, 30, I mean, we had Nigel Winner, but Nigel Winner at 36, Stuart Pearce 38. There were still years to play. It must have been like the rug taken under your feet. Do you know what I mean? Like literally pulled up. You assume that maybe I get a couple of years, as I said, maybe drop down into the different lower leagues. But no, that's it. You're done. You're like,
it was unfortunate how it happened, but I think as a player, you sort of way, even if I thought I was able to, in terms of I would have no pain in my body, I probably would have tried to play I don't know, Championship or League One or whatever. Try to get couple of more seasons out of my body, but for some reason I just saw the pain and being out for such a long time. I probably thought I wasn't capable of even training 2-3 days a week to be able to play in matches and that there. So without even announcing it, I just sort of as the days go on, the weeks, and then before you know it, there's another season pass, and you know you're never gonna
no, that's exactly. And as you said, it's one of those things where you get, you know, with football, it moves so quickly as well. So same as managers as well. You know, I mean, you look at, you know, once managers don't get, you know, a job for a couple of years, that's it. You know, they're sort of out of the loop for any new jobs coming up because new managers come up. Same with players. You know, the new players come up, and so, you know, if you're out of the wilderness, if you're out of game for, you know, a season or as long as it was, that's it. You know, it's sort of like you're so far down again.
Yes, I think as well as for players, I've noticed probably over the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, when players are getting to maybe 31, 32 now, and if they're not playing more or less every week and they're out of contract, there's not too many opportunities now. I think clubs are more looking at the younger side of the game now, rather than maybe years ago it was more experience. No, he might be 34, but his experience, he's played here, he's he's been at a good level. No, we'll bring him in, see how things go, and probably would have worked out quite a lot of the times. But now I think football and clubs are definitely going down the route of, whether it's through their academy or just looking to sign younger players now.
Yeah, well, I think it's a
long-term prospect.
Exactly, it's a long-term prospect. It's a sell-on prospect as well, isn't it? It's you know, people buy the youngsters from League One, League Two. You know, straight away you've got, you know, you've been rebadged a West Ham player rather than a Colchester player. It means you've doubled your value, and so if it doesn't work out, they sell them, doesn't it? And it's but also I think George, now the game is so fast now. You know, it's like where we had, as I said, we had Nigel Winterburn, we had Stuart Pearce playing left back, we had Zabaleta recently. You know, he was relatively towards the end of his career. Last couple of months, it was evident that it just didn't work. You know, it was that he was getting roasted basically. Yeah, he had the experience, but it's so ferocious at the pace now. I think that's probably why.
Yeah, football. I think it's changing now where you need to be more probably like an athlete. It's more your build, your fast, your height, and also as well the money in football now in terms of transfers and contracts. It's just looking back, say the Big Sam. I'm not sure. Say as maybe his highest year in terms of transfer fees, he maybe spent, I don't know, maybe 40 million or so. Whereas, was it last year, the season before? I think West Ham would have been up near 100 million. No, it was.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, Sebastian Carroll was 45 million alone. Do you know what I mean? So it's just
football's evolving all the time now, not just in terms of the type of player that you need to play, say in the Premiership now. It's also the cost of the players and again contracts. What you're getting for your money.
It's true.
It's probably 15 years ago, you were maybe spending 1 or 2 million on a Championship player. Now you're spending 15, 20. You could actually got Thierry Henry probably early 2000s for 25 million.
If that, I think
how much would he be worth now? No, it's just it's crazy in terms of and how clubs can sustain that as well. Year on year, it's getting higher.
Particularly if everything we've had in the last 18 months, you know, if no fans in the stadium and stuff, it's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see the financial impact of that Not this season, but I think the next season, because it's almost like their books are almost like a year out. So I think you'll see next financial year the impact of COVID in terms of that. But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, but also it's a change in mentality for the managers. I mean, we saw Big Sam, quite quick, bought like I said about £40 million of a player, something like that. Pellegrini, 200 million. Davy Moyes, 5 million for Soufal, 15 million for Such. It's all about how the mentality of the player, the manager as well, to get those players in. Go on.
Sorry, I think with David Moyes, he's made some shrewd signings that have worked out very well for him, and obviously the team's playing great. Maybe if he could just add one or two this season to that there again, they're going to be certainly fighting up towards the top end of the table.
That's what it is, and I think West Ham fans, we're not a team, we're not a fan base who will want to spend. I mean, you love being, when we spent like 200 million or whatever on Felipe Anderson and Haller, all very exciting, but that's not West Ham. We like the not the rough diamonds, that's the wrong reason, but we like the players who we see them develop as they start playing with us. You know what I mean? And so it is about finding those Soufals and Bowens and people like that. Right, let's do you 11, George, because I know I don't take any of your time really, but it's been lovely chatting. So everyone we have on the channel puts an 11 together, and the idea is it's based on the players you played with. Now we've said before we started filming, 100. You started to have a little flick through of who you played with. You play with some great players, some amazing players in your time. Both times.
Yes, I spent the way just writing names down, and then I was maybe circling around. Right, this is my keeper, and then I must have changed my mind maybe 3 or 4 times. So it's then I was thinking I'll change formation just to fit this player in, but there's that, like you say, there's so many from the first spell and the second spell, so many very good players. So starting off as goals.
In goal. Let's start off in goal. Who's going to be in goal?
So are we going to talk through?
You can do whatever you want. Yeah, talk through it if you want to, George. It's up to you.
Starting off, it would have been Roy Carroll.
Yeah.
Good friend. He was a very good keeper as well.
Very good.
But I probably didn't spend long enough playing with him at West Ham, whereas with Rob Green, I did. And the second spell I had Jaskalainen. Again, experience, great person, very good goalie, but I'd have to, in goal, stick with Greeny.
Yeah, with Greeno. Yeah. And we've had Roy on, and Roy picked Rob Green himself. and Jimmy, they all picked Rob Green. They all picked him because he said,
Jimmy Walker as well. No, again, there's someone I would have forgot about. Yeah, he was there in my first spell, and like what a great lad he was. Very funny.
Top man, Jimmy's.
Yeah,
top man. Well, I think him and Roy were a bit too. They were too busy down Epping, down 195, weren't it? To be honest, but But yeah, Green. He just, I mean, when Jim was saying when he was. Until recently, obviously, he was Ipswich goalkeeper coach, wasn't he? On the goalkeepers coach staff at Ipswich, and he would get all of his students, all of his young prodigy goalkeepers, to watch Robert Green videos because he was, as you said, such a great trainer and stuff like that. And
he was professional in terms of off the pitch and off the pitch. Green, just about how good could he be? No, he even deservedly had a few caps for England as well. But
too right.
He, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, we'll go right back next.
Go on in, right back. Who's going to be your right back? Go on in.
So starting off would have been another one actually, Jonathan Spector, but he was American lad.
Yeah.
Would have got on well with him first time around at West Ham. Lucas Neal. Second time would have been Joey O'Brien and Hugh Donnell. I don't think I've missed out
No, it's one of those positions. Right back was always one of those positions where we had some random ones. I mean,
John Pansel.
Johnny Pansel. I think Faubert played a right back for a little bit, didn't he, as well? So, yes, yeah. And Jerry Blaise especially played wherever he could get a game, wasn't it? To be honest, so yeah.
I think I'm good friends with Joey, and
I know
he was a great lad. Very good player when he was on the pitch.
Yeah.
But just for his leadership, that year, obviously us staying up from being relegated, I would go with Lucas Neal.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree for that, mate. Totally agree with that. Very underrated player at West Ham. Didn't get the credit he deserved as much, I think, than others. And that's something which I've sort of understood a bit more since doing the show is understanding people like, as you said yourself, speaks of highly of Anton and various others, and he's top man Lucas is. Okay, so put Lucas in. Who's going to go left back? You can pick yourself, George. Some people do. You can pick yourself. It's up to you.
I think first time around there was Conch and me, and then outside of that there wasn't. I don't think there was really many backups.
Not really.
My second spell, Matty Taylor would have dropped back there, but he was probably more of a left winger. So, I think I'll put Conch in there because again he was a great lad and a very good left back. I don't want to put myself in. I'll go with Conch left back.
Yeah, so I did. You know what, George? There's some players, right? There's some players I interview, and I think they're going to put themselves in. There's nothing wrong with that. And then some players are not. And as soon as we started talking, I thought, no, you're far too. What's the word? I just thought some people don't. Some people do. Some people don't. And I thought there's no way George is. He's far too nice, to be honest. Far too nice.
No, Conch is. I'm at the club Conch plays for as well. No, he, like I say, he was a good defender, and also he was very good going forward as well.
He is, yeah, and now he's assistant manager at West Ham Ladies now. So love Conch, big fan of Conchy. Yeah. Okay, so we'll put him left back. Who's your first centre half then?
Yeah, so centre half. There's actually quite a few names.
It's loads.
We've got Gabadon, Upson, Anton, Winston Reed. Is Winston Reed still at West Ham, or is he?
I don't actually. Technically, I think he is, but I don't know. But because he went on loan to Brentford last season, didn't he? And he's. I think technically he's on our books. I'm not. He might be out of contract. I don't. He's one of those players. Unfortunately, very similar. Sort of got injured and then sort of went out in the wilderness, so to speak. Which is a shame.
I thought he was injured, but it must have been a serious injury because he was out. I think he was out for quite a long time.
Ages. And then he went to America, spent some time at MLS for Kansas, and that was the beginning of last season. And then Brentford, Pontius Johansson, he got injured, and they brought him in on a short-term loan. And he got minutes of the actual final that Brentford went up. So,
okay.
So fair play to him. But I like Winston.
Yeah, good lad again. Very good player. There was Abdoulaye Faye, I think. That was promotion season. I think he played.
Yeah.
Again, I've maybe left one or two out, but all of
big James Collins. I better say James Collins. Otherwise, big Ginger Pele, James Collins. You played with him as well.
I've got Ginger's name down now, but
okay. Right,
I'm
sorry.
Just. I've been looking through. There's that many, and I'm not too sure who to pick. But yeah, Ginge again. Fans love Ginge, and Ginge was actually one as well. He was there my first spell, and then came back the second spell as well.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, he did. Yeah, wow.
So Ginge, great lad. I might actually have to put him in now because I didn't mention his name. It's a tough one. I'm going to go Gabadon.
Yeah.
And Tompkins.
Oh, JT. Yeah, I was going to say Tompkins. I think it's on your list. Yeah. Nice guy, James Tompkins is. And Gabs, they both are.
Yeah. But again, no, all of them quality players. And you can only pick two. And
I know.
I could have actually picked any of them out of the 7 or 8 that I mentioned. Because even the first spell with Matthew Upson, he was always enjoyed playing alongside him. With the experience he would have had from Arsenal, and he was a great defender, and again another leader in the changing room. But I can only pick two out of so many. So
yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And Tompkins is one of those guys that I was always gutted when he left. When he went to Crystal Palace, because West Ham boy. Yeah, I don't like seeing West Ham boys go.
That was I think I'd maybe finished 2 or 3 years when he left. I was always, it's a strange one. I couldn't understand why, because he was probably just getting into the best years of his career. He was still young.
Yeah.
And he had played a lot of games, but yeah, it was a strange one. But yeah, he moved on and he done great away. Crystal Palace. But I think maybe the last couple of years he's had injuries.
He has, yeah. I think he has got quite injured. But I mean, it's the same as a lot of people in it. It does seem that West Ham injuries, it seems an injury, laden club, unfortunately, with like big injuries like Winston Reed and James Tompkins yourselves and stuff. And yeah, it's a shame, but yeah. But as you said, you could have easily picked. You could have 4 or 5 different centre back partnerships there. Right, let's move into midfield.
Sorry, and for Jens, he was always probably out of all the centre halves. He was the one that maybe brought the ball out more. He was comfortable. He could ping the ball either foot. He was, certainly probably the best in terms of his long range passing and that there. Got you a goal. Jens was again one I could have picked, but I could only pick 2. So
Ginger's one of those players. I think he really benefited from leaving West Ham to come back, because I think he left and he came back with no hair, really, to be honest, and a beard. But what I mean, he came back and he spent those couple of seasons with like Richard Dunn, and he came back as like a proper old school West Ham defender. And I think that's when the cult status of him came along. Yeah. When he came back.
I think he came. Was it Aston Villa?
Yeah, it was at Villa. Yeah, with Richard Dunn. Yeah.
Because I remember him having a couple of great seasons in Aston Villa as well, and then ending up back at West Ham again. Yeah, but all of them quality players. So we'll right midfield.
Go for it.
Again, probably because he didn't play enough games. I think I remember him breaking his leg in a cup game. Kieran Dyer.
Yeah.
Again, when he was younger, in the England squad, and he was recognised as going to be, a very good player. Well, he was a very good player, but I think injury sort of way curtailed his career a bit.
Really did.
But great dribbler with the ball, would have got you goals and that there. You had Nobby Solano.
Oh, love Nobby.
Yeah, his delivery was a joke, so it was probably again, Nobby set pieces and his crossing ability was excellent. And then again, he came late in my second spell, but I always remember playing against him, Joe Cole.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he came back as well. Yeah,
and I suppose you could have him on the right or in centre or whatever. But I remember playing against Joe from a young age. Even, I think it was under 16s, Northern Ireland against England or whatever. And I think it was maybe my second game ever for Sunderland. It was against West Ham. I come on, and he was playing right wing, and Joe, like a unbelievable player. His ability was second to none. I think at West Ham, though, I was coming towards the end, and then I think he had some little niggly injuries as well. But yeah, what an amazing player he was. But only because I didn't play with him that long.
No, fair enough.
Obviously, you could put him in there because of how good he is. But I'm just going on probably the players who I've played with.
That's the way it should be, George. That's the way it should be.
I'm going to say Benny Young.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Benny Young.
What a player.
Yeah. He was.
Love Joshy.
One of the nicest people off the pitch, but
really, wow.
He had again. So he was there my first spell, and I'm near sure he came back for a few months on the second one as well.
He did, yeah. He came back on loan from Chelsea, I think.
Yeah, and you just have to look at actually the clubs. When he left West Ham, he went to Liverpool, Chelsea,
Arsenal as well. Yeah,
he was a quality player.
He was.
So because it was a longer spell playing with him, I'll go with Yossi.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
I don't know. Yeah, Julian Faubourg, he was right wing as well, but I'm not sure if I've left many others out.
I don't think so. Does it, George? It don't matter. It's the ones that you played with. It's the ones you remember playing with. That's the thing. But Yossi, great shout. Like Yossi. Go on. Let's go left wing.
Yeah,
let's go left wing.
Right. So first spell, Matty Everington.
Yeah. Top boy.
And I always thought, because we probably had a year or two playing consistently together, and we always thought we linked up well, and we had a good understanding. And so I'm going to say I'm putting Matty Everington in. But
it's a great shout.
Other players.
No, I think Matty. For you definitely.
Yeah, we had Matt Taylor on the second spell. Sorry, first spell. Freddie Lundberg came in late on. Again, amazing player.
Injuries.
Maybe he came from Arsenal. I'm not sure how old he was at the time, but again, great ability. But just because I played with Matty longer, and Matty was great for West Ham at that time. So the second spell, Matt Taylor, great left foot, could score any type of goal, and he'd done it throughout his career.
Yeah,
his deliveries were, quality, probably some of the best. I've played with on the left side. Matty Jarvis.
Yeah, Matty Jarvis, God bless him.
Small, loved dribbling with the ball. Another excellent player. And then on the left, I would mention as well Stuart Burning, even though he was probably left, right, played in behind the front two. But he
played wherever, didn't he?
I would say Burning in training, I probably wasn't, not that it was shocked, but his ability in training. And maybe it's because he was at Liverpool and that there, he was excellent. He was very good, and I could understand why. When he was younger, and a lot of talk of the bigger clubs looking at him that there, he was very good in training, and maybe at times at West Ham, it was not playing every week or whatever it happened, but he was a great player.
He was, and I remember Sam. Because Sam got him back into England squad.
Yeah,
really, because he moved. Do you remember he went to that diamond, and then Downing moved to the top of the diamond, and he was an incredible player, and he was still a great player. He just knew his life.
How clever he was. Obviously, he had pace, great left foot.
Yeah,
he was a very good player. But I'm going to stick with Matty Everington only because we had a very good understanding, and he's a great lad as well. So
yeah, he's top boy. Love Matty, love him. Right, okay. Set the midfield. Good luck. Good luck, George.
So again, I'll maybe missing a few, but I'll just get him out of the way earlier in terms of his ability, Mascherano, but he didn't play at West Ham. But in training, you could tell his qualities.
Of course, yeah.
Superb. Hayden Mullins had 2 or 3 great years with him. Don't even remember him probably ever missing a game.
No.
I actually bumped into him 2 weeks ago on there's a coaching course that was going on in Northern Ireland, and he was over for 2 days. I actually bumped into him.
Brilliant.
No, it was great to speak with him. He was just talking about his days. He had a short spell managing Watford, and
he's a Colchester. Colchester manager now. Yeah.
No, we just had a quick chat in terms of back in the West Ham days as well. Yeah, but Gary's another great player. Jack Collison, I think.
Another coach as well now at Atlantic United.
Atlanta, in America, yeah. Again, I think injuries probably done.
Definitely, yeah.
For Jack in his career, because he had great ability. You could see it in training, and if he was able to keep himself fit, he would always produce in matches. But he had a bad time with his knees, I think it was.
Yeah, really bad.
Very nice lad as well. So the two, and let me know if I've missed out on any major ones. The two I want to put in is Nogues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think he started out in my first spell.
Yes.
Or he'd only played a few games or whatever. Again, we're very good friends in my first spell. And I don't know what it was. Nogues never had much pace, but how clever he was in terms of either positioning his body, or he would do this. It was like a side step to move the ball away from.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
from a player, and he was so clever with the ball, and very rarely ever give it away. Also, his work rate, especially back in his younger days,
Yeah, there's a reason why he's been there, and that he's had played under 8 managers, 9 managers. They've all picked him because of what he brings to the table.
Yeah. So Nogues will go in.
Yeah.
Scotty Parker.
God bless him.
Top player. Great in the ball, got around the pitch. He was just probably your all-round centre midfield player.
Yeah.
There's not much else I can say about him.
He's Scott Parker. They're both of them, really. You can't really say much about both of them.
If he needed to defend, he didn't mind getting back either. Just very good all-round player.
I think with both of them, I think they complement each other, Scott and Mark.
Both of them excellent players. Both have great careers, and Nogues is still not finished. He's still going, but two great lads as well. I'm not too sure if I've missed.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, George. We're all friends here.
Just in case there's a big name in there that have...
I don't think so. I don't think you missed anyone that I can go, I can't believe he's forgotten. No, I don't think you've missed Paolo Di Canio or anything, so you're all right.
So
who are we having up front? Let's go.
So I'll start off with Teddy Sheringham. He had a few months left at the club when I came in, but I always remember when I did come in, he was the very first person that came to me. I think I remember meeting, I think it was at a hotel in Liverpool, first ever away trip. Now, I was in the process of just signing.
Yeah.
And first person come over, and I was obviously Teddy Sheringham, a bit nervous, and I was a bit nervous too. I was like for who he is and what he's achieved and the clubs he's been at, and all, it was great that he came over, said hello, and then remember training. He would always try to give you pointers in terms of just helping you. But it was more, he was probably coming to the end, but he was still trying to give back in terms of helping, whether it was new players or young players. Obviously, don't need to talk about him as a player because we all know how good he was.
Yeah.
But he, like I say, he was coming to the end as I was just starting my West Ham career. You've Coley, Carton Cole.
Yeah.
No, he was there in both my spells.
He was, yeah. Couldn't get rid of him. Couldn't get rid of him.
Quite a few players at both spells here, but yeah, Coley, love Coley, great lad.
Yeah.
Always scored goals. Actually, really good in terms of holding the ball up and running with the ball as well. He was quick. He was strong. Yeah, no, Coley was very good centre forward. You had John Carew, short spell, big unit.
Yeah, big boy.
Probably, he scored a few goals in the championship that year. You had Craig Bellamy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, excellent player, great career. Fazte, Nolan. Nolan was a great captain, a bit like Lucas Neal on and off the pitch. Was a big help, and Allardyce was manager and scored plenty of important goals.
Yeah. That was, I think that was, he was as crucial as Sam coming in, was Nolan, because he was the link between you and Sam, basically, it seemed, and same as Lucas Neal was, really. He was that link between the management and the player. I think you need that as a good captain, and that's what Mark does now. Mark's the link between the squad and the management, and you need that in a team. And and obviously Nolan's, doing an absolute banging job at the club now as a coach. And
he's back there as coaching,
he is. He's brilliant.
But he was, again, a top player. Like I said, scored any amount of important goals at West Ham. You had Dean Ashton.
Yep.
Again, he was great player. I think he was in and out of the England squad at the time, and then he got that bad injury with his ankle.
Yeah.
And probably wasn't the same. I know he came back for a year or two, but even with that ankle injury, I just remember how good a player that he was, and what he could have been only for the.
Oh God, yeah.
His ankle was a mess. I remember.
Yeah.
Seeing the scars and that on it was, but he could have been a really top player. So he could have
definitely.
Injuries hadn't have not finished him off, but certainly didn't help us.
Well, it did, to be honest, George. It really did. After that, he didn't come back as the player that he was. And as you said, if he wasn't injured, if he didn't have that injury, he would have been up there.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah, definitely.
Brilliant players.
But yeah, so I'm going to put Tevez.
Yes.
Just because he was a great person off the pitch, but how important. I know it was probably only a few months, but just to see his qualities and the important goals he scored, and where he went after there in terms of the clubs and what he achieved, I would go Tevez, and I'm actually torn now between Ashton and Nolan.
But you forgot about Kepa Blanco. Such. And technically Marlon, and just say Marlon and Zamora and Bobby, just in case. Just say, I know you. Marlon there and Bobby Zamora as well.
See, yeah, Bobby Zamora, yeah, Marlon Herwood, Ray Cook in midfield. So now we're starting to.
No, you place right. Okay, start again. Okay, all right. Russell Myers 11.
Yes. No,
yeah, got them out.
Scored loads of goals as well. Yeah, I remember when I first signed Marlon was there, but then I think he maybe only
didn't play a lot for Wentz. He went to Villa, didn't he? I think.
But Bobby Samori, yeah, he was a great player. No, could hold it up, very skillful. Again, scored important goals, and he was brilliant off the pitch as well. I was actually not so much outside of football, but in terms of around the change rooms, I get on really well with all the players. But Bobby was a really nice lad, so he was. So I'm glad actually you mentioned him.
There we go. It's okay. Otherwise we'll say something.
So now, yeah,
that's made your job about 4 times hard there, George. There we go. I'm joking.
Yeah,
well, it's up to you. I mean, I think, personally, if I was you, I'd have, you had Tevez from the first era. I would have Kevin Nolan, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd be honest. No disrespect to Marlon and Zamora and Bobby, but in terms of the significance of the times that you played at West Ham, I'm just making your job a bit easier, George, to be honest. I'm just picking the team for you. But I'd probably put Kevin just because of what he brought to the team. And the importance of him in that season. Yeah,
I think as well, it was over a longer spell as well. It was 2 or 3 years of playing with kids. So, I'll go Tevez and Nolan.
Yeah, there we go. You see?
I'm leaving out a lot of, like, in Coley now. I'm leaving out Coley. I feel quite guilty about it.
But we'll have them all on the bench. Nowadays, George, it seems they've got everyone on the bench. They've got about 20 players on the bench, so you could put them all on the bench and you wouldn't get no problem with them. No shit with them.
You're gonna have to do pick your 11 and have 7 or 8 subs as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can have more on the bench. It's all right. It's only fun. It's only fun and games. We're all right. But you still, but considering there were some hard decisions there. That's quite a balanced team, George.
Yeah, I probably feel a little bit guilty leaving a few players out, but I've picked the team there. Like I said, got on with all the lads, but friendly with most of them, and great players on and off the pitch. They were. Yeah,
exactly. George, man, it's been a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, man. It's been really, really lovely talking to you. I've really appreciate your time. I really appreciate it.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And like I said at the start, thank you for having me on the show.
Absolute pleasure, my friend. And thank you to everyone for watching. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I hope the sun is shining. But it is in Hornchurch. It's sunny. It's going to be hot. So, I'm not very good with hot weather, George. You know what I mean? Some people are. I like it like, if it's like 19, 20 degrees, I'm all right. But as soon as it gets like 23, it's the nights.
You should maybe move to Northern Ireland because we only get about 5 hot days a year. So
you've had your quota already, George. There you go.
Yeah, so we're having a bit of a heat wave at the minute as well, but it's only probably 21, 22.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. That'd be perfect. I used to play rugby in Ballymena, so that's all right.
Oh, Ballymena.
There we go.
Good spot, Ballymena.
Oh yeah, good team they were. Although it was funny because obviously I came from Loughton, so a lot of the boys came from like North London and Leytonstone, and they were going to Ballymena, and they were sort of doing that sort of student swap program. So staying around their opposite numbers house. And obviously, and they all lived in flats and stuff, in high rises in Leytonstone and stuff. And now they're on a farm, picking potatoes, and they were like, I just couldn't get it. It was so funny. Yeah. Bless them, they're really, really sweet. Lovely place though. Anyway, mate, thank you very much. I've taken enough of your time, so I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. For myself and from George, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Get those jabs. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.